this is a master project I'm doing called SoundBrush, which is I'm adding sounding feedback to a purely visual medium, which is it's painting. So I'm investigating the effect this sonic feedback has on artist movements on the brush of the canvas. So how does it work? I started off using a leap motion, tracking the palm of the artist, moving the brush of the canvas, and sending OSC into Ableton using Touch Designer. But after I played around with it and painted a lot, I realized that like you do a lot of small movements with the brush to paint details, and then you don't move your palm. Your palm is quite still, and if I'm only tracking the palm, the sound won't change as I'm doing details. So I started to track the tip using a accelerometer that's placed on the top of the brush. And I'm using TNC and sending it out to Arduino, and then to Touch Designer through serial, and then parsing it there and smoothing it out with some filters. And there's the schematics. So the actual like parameters that I'm tracking of the brush and the palm of the artist is the palm X, Y, Z, the palm's acceleration, the brush acceleration, and the brush rotation. And from these parameters, I can calculate the LMA lab and effort descriptors: space, time, weight, and flow. Here you can see the Touch Designer part of it, and you can see the brush tip moving around, and this in the upper left corner is the position on the canvas, and I have these pads. They can trigger samples as well, but I'm not using it at the moment. And I have some beat detection in the lower left, lower right that works okay. It's just based on the brush tip. So then comes the problem with the mapping these movements to sound. And this is the hard part, I realized, because I'm not a musician and I have never touched a musician like a music program. And how to map these movements so it feels right. And should this be an instrument? Should it be something else? Should it be something that helps you? Or I don't know really where I'm going in this part. And this, I'm going to share my exploration. So this is an idea of mimicking an instrument. I'm using Mubu-based cognitive synthesis, which kind of splits up the audio in different parameters. So you can see in the right here is kind of how it looks. So I have an audio file of Elvis Presley cover with a violin. And here I'm not I'm not using the brush yet because I'm kind of wanted to do the bass movements, map these movements to the first. And here is, I'm having a more atmospheric impact. I'm having a beat in the background, and your movement is kind of controlling the atmosphere, and you can see it. So this is controlling delays and kind of how the sounds are shaping. I'm using this beautiful plugin. And the last one is I want to connect a direct link, so every movement you have is connected to the sound, and you can really easily shape the sound, and you feel like you're directly connected with the sound. But But I'm struggling. I've been working a couple of weeks now with the sounds, and I realize it's quite hard to make sounds sound nice. You can make sound that sounds metallic and weird, but having this like sound nice, and since I want to map it to artistic movement, I want it to be resemble in a beautiful way and not something that kind of distracts them. It's something they more feels soothing. And as well, since this is all digital, I'm saving all the data into a CVS format that I can later visualize and compare. I'm as well planning to generate some artworks with this data collected from painting a painting, and then having a digital painting resembles but only the movements, which I think could be really interesting, but is in the future. And further development is to find the right mapping for the accelerometer on the brush as well as the palm, and get it to somewhere where I like it. And then I'm going to test it with painters, musicians, and people with experience and know this field. Because I think that if you have a relation to the, for example, music, you can kind of disassemble it. Yeah, this is controlling the pitch, this is doing this, while painters maybe think of like, yeah, these brush strokes, I'm doing this, and someone with no experience of both this field and kind of compare, is there any difference between these groups? As well, I want to make some artworks with the paintbrush and some digital artworks. Add some chat. And that's about it.